Every person at some point in their lives will experience a great deal of disappointment, discouragement, heartbreak. That point where it feels like, I don't know how much longer I can take this. I'm so tired. And when those thoughts happen, it can feel like no one understands and that you're completely alone. But let me tell you an incredible truth. In Christ, we are never alone, and there is hope. Even in our lowest, most lonely moments, God is with us. He sees us. And even when we fail, He is still for us. God has greater plans beyond what we can see. For the Christian, there is an eternal hope. Even if everything in our lives goes totally wrong, we know that our permanent, eternal home is in heaven, where there is no more pain, and every tear will be wiped away. To you, my brother or my sister in Christ, I want to encourage you. Hold on. Just hold on. The truth is, God is faithful, and His faithful love endures forever. Our labor is not in vain. He promises this throughout His word, that He will never leave you nor forsake you, and we have nothing to fear. See, the promises in His word are meant to keep us grounded. They are not just nice sayings. They are truth, written for our sake. He works all things for the good of those who love Him and are called to His purpose, even the hard things, the loss, the waiting, the setbacks. The Bible is filled with God's people experiencing these things. Job, he lost all his possessions, all his kids, and his health, all at the same time. Joseph, he was thrown into slavery and put in jail without doing anything wrong. Noah, he spent 100 years being mocked and called crazy for building this ark while waiting for the flood that God had promised. Even Jesus experienced every heartbreak we could ever know. He knows exactly what it's like to be mocked, persecuted, rejected, alone. He knows what it's like to feel forsaken, betrayed, to be a hated outcast just for speaking the truth and bringing the power of God to people. And to top it all off, He died for all of that. For our sake, He laid down His life. He knows the exact pain of everything we're going through. But you know what Jesus and all these men and women of God saw at the end of their trials? They saw that God came through and He did a miracle, something that was abundantly more than what they started with. Although the cost was pain, there was a greater purpose and great joy in the end. Trials are necessary. They're a necessary part of the faith journey. The dark of night, the storms and the chaos of life, the questioning, the testing. But this is all not in vain. There is a purpose. It strengthens our faith. It takes us closer to God, and ultimately, it reaps a harvest if we do not give up. Without trials, we don't even know what true joy is in its fullness. And we wouldn't be able to encourage or sympathize with others who are going through it. God's way is so much higher than ours. The thing to remember is to stay faithful and not lose heart. I want to go to Galatians 6. And in here, we see a promise from God that we can cling to, especially in the times when we're going through it. In the 7th verse of Galatians 6, it says, "Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. For he who sows of the flesh will of the flesh reap corruption, but he who sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap everlasting life. And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap a harvest if we do not lose heart." To my brother and sister, if you are seeking God, living right, staying in His will, you will reap a harvest if you do not give up. That is God's nature. That's His promise. He sees everything you're doing. And what He's saying to us is just hold on. Cling to Him in the waiting and the testing, and fully trust in Him. Keep going, because God is faithful. There's an acronym for the word hope that I really like, and it captures what it is. HOPE. Hold on, pain ends. And it will. We think it doesn't because it just feels like such a long time that we're in it. But God's timing and His ways are so much higher. And we need to learn how to keep our focus on Him if we're going to make it through. Here's what God's promise doesn't mean. It doesn't mean that if you go to church and believe for Him for an X amount of time, God's going to bless you, fix all your problems, give you some money and a physical blessing. No, God is not a vending machine where you put something in just to get something out. His promises are of eternal value, and He sees the intention of every heart. He's already promised to take care of you. And so His blessing will go beyond the flesh and our physical desires, our physical needs. What we need to do is trust Him for the things we cannot see. Believe God for that person to get healed. Believe God to save that loved one. Believe God will make a way where it seems like there is no way. He is a waymaker and a miracle worker. And He loves you beyond what you can understand. He wants to be your deliverer. But you have a choice. You can throw your hands up and freak out at everything going wrong and just get mad at God that He's not answering your prayer the way you want Him to. Or you can keep your eyes fixed on Him, love Him, wait on Him, keep serving and honoring Him, and fully trust that He will make things right in His timing. I know the road is difficult. It really is. I know personally. And I'm here to say, you're going to make it through. With God, you will make it through. He already knows that you're not going to do it perfectly. He already knows your flaws. He knows when you're going to make mistakes. But that doesn't matter to Him. He just wants you to be real and personal, the way that He's made Himself real and personal to you. If you can keep your mind on Him and you don't turn to other things for answers, He's going to help you. Whatever you're facing, hold on. Pain ends.